What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Monday. I hope your week has gotten off to a great start. Before I get started and sort of go into my Married to Medicine review, I just wanted to say, oh my goodness, where has the time gone? We are 10 days away from the Christmas holiday and 16 days away from starting the new year. 2025 for me has not been an easy year. There were a lot of changes that occurred in my life and I had to make some adjustments, but all is well. I want to say, even at this point in time of the year, that I am alive, healthy, and well. I really can't complain, but I am looking forward to better days in 2026, and I hope that you're doing the same. If you've had some changes or you've had some things to happen this year, I hope that you are sort of going out of this year and leaving this year with your head held high. So anyway, let's get started on our Married to Medicine review. Of course, this is season 12. Episode 3. You guys know that if you've been watching my videos in the past, you know that Married to Medicine is one of my favorite shows. I love Married to Medicine. I think it's actually one of the best shows on Bravo, Peacock, whatever, one of the reality shows. They have been very, very consistent since day one, and I really, really love these ladies. I know a lot of people don't really like Married to Medicine, but I'm telling you guys, if you haven't watched from season 1, just if you have some time over the holidays, whatever, go back and watch, because I'm sure you would love it. If you really, really go back and you watch it from season 1 to now, you will see how consistent they've been. So anyway, this particular episode was called The Players Ball. So let's get into it. You know me, guys, I always have my little notes, and let's get into it. So we know that, of course, with Married to Medicine, they always open up with the little montages. We see all of the ladies perhaps at work or at home with their families. So they're like little snippets of maybe things they have going on. But the opening scene was with Dr. Contessa and Toya. They actually met up because Dr. Contessa is throwing herself a birthday party. Dr. Contessa turned 49 years old, and she says she's never had a birthday party ever in life, and so she just wanted to do something for herself. She said she thought by now that Dr. Scott would have given her a birthday party, but of course Dr. Scott never did it. So she said she doesn't want to wait any longer, although she didn't wait till she turned 50, which is a milestone birthday. She wanted to do it for this particular 49th birthday. And I understand that, it's nothing wrong with ever celebrating your life and celebrating yourself. I didn't even know Dr. Contessa was 49 years old, to be honest. I don't even really know how old I thought she was. I thought she was kind of like mid 40s, maybe close to 50, because I know a lot of times when they go to medical school, sometimes they're a little older than we think. I'm right there behind Dr. Contessa. I'm actually 48 years old, so I'm right in there with Dr. Contessa. So, and I think Toya is also 48 or 49, so we're all in there together. But anyway, so when Dr. Contessa told Toya about the party, she told her that she wanted to have a 70s theme, and that, she said she wanted all the ladies to come and, of course, everyone to have a great time. She didn't really want any fighting or, just any drama. She just wants to have a great time. She told Toya that her budget was $40,000, and Toya was kind of like, she kind of pulled the glasses down on her like, girl, $40,000. So, when Toya says $40,000 is too much, it's kind of like, okay, maybe is Dr. Contessa overspending? But I think what Toya was looking at when they met at the venue, Toya was kind of looking around, and there was sort of nothing that could like exhibit that it would cost $40,000 to have a party. She was looking at, hey, there's nothing here. She couldn't really see it. She couldn't really get the vision for the party. So I guess Toya was like, okay, that's a lot of money, especially for you to be throwing your own party. But nonetheless, Dr. Contessa said, hey, I'm covering the cost. It's all good. I have it, and I'm going to have this party. So we move on and we see we move on to Quad and King. They've been together for a couple of years. We all know that Quad has talked about having a baby and she is now on that IVF journey. Quad said that she's already had like the necessary procedures, to make sure that, or to ensure that she could kind of get pregnant and have this baby. She actually had she met with a doctor in Ghana, but she said that Dr. Jackie would be her American doctor to kind of like navigate her through this entire process. So, Dr. Jackie, of course, we know Dr. Jackie loves things like that. And of course, I'm sure she took Quad on as a patient with pride. So Quad, I think she's doing like about 4 rounds of the IVF. She actually, King was sitting there eating and, they were just having like a normal conversation. The initial conversation was about King eating her leftovers, and that's just like typical relationship stuff. I think when you're in a relationship, oftentimes you may have something in, waiting for you or something that you want to eat, and, hey, your spouse, your partner could actually eat your food, and you're like, okay, well, what else am I going to eat? But that was like like I said, that was just like a typical conversation for them. And then, of course, they started talking about the IVF. Now, of course, like just with the sidebar, I was getting a vibe from King that he's a little frustrated about this process. I know that it's probably a very long, strenuous process in trying to, get pregnant and have a baby, even as a couple. And I'm sure that's stressful on both the man as well as the woman. It was funny because King told Quad, hey, if you want it 15 times a week, then you have to feed me. And then he was talking about her mood swings and just how she's been sort of going through it. And she said that her emotions are all over the place. She did mention that. And I'm sure that can happen. We just, women deal with that hormonally all the time anyway. So to be injecting yourself with something, trying to get pregnant, I'm almost sure that can really have you on an emotional roller coaster. Quad actually apologized about that before she was going to do her rounds of IVF with the needles. And so King actually came into the bathroom with her. And he was just kind of teasing her and joking around. And I wanted to say, too, King also has a daughter. I think she's between the ages of like 8 and 11. So King kind of gave me the impression that he's okay with trying to do this with Quad. But if it doesn't happen, he's okay with that as well. He won't be terribly disappointed. I was kind of shocked that King was kind of talking the way he was. It seemed like he was kind of not against it, but he wasn't super excited about it either. So Quad, was in the bathroom, and he was joking with her and telling her, oh my God, big bad Quad is scared of a needle. And she said she's not really scared of a needle, but the process can be a lot. So they were just kind of even joking around. I think King had eaten some fish, or he was sitting there in her kitchen eating fish, and she said she didn't like the smell of it on his breath. And, he was kind of joking around with her and said, don't project, your issues on me. And Quad went to blow her breath on King, and then they kind of, were joking around, playing, and he fell on the bed and said he needed CPR. Now, that's the kind of, those are the kind of, fun things that we see with Quad and King. They seem to get along. They seem to joke around. But I'm hoping that, just in the process of her trying to get pregnant, that is not something that puts a wedge between them, that it will actually bring them closer together. So we will see how Quad does with that in the future. We move on. Now we see Dr. Jackie, Dr. Heavenly getting ready for the party. Everyone came, of course, on their own. And what I love about Married to Medicine is that when they have a theme party, or a party that has a theme, oftentimes they give them names. We saw it last year with Whitnick, the season opener of last year, when Dr. Simone and Cecil had the Whitnick party. It was like an ode or a throwback to Freaknik, which is, a very popular time during the college years in the 90s, especially at HBCU. So Anyway, but this particular time it was a 70s theme. Everyone was given a cute little name. I thought it was extremely, extremely cute. I can go through some of the names. I'll just try to tell you what the ladies' names were, although the men were given names too. Dr. Mimi was called Lady Silk Supreme. Angel was Angel Dynamite. Heavenly was Heavenly Delights. Dr. Jackie was Boss Lady Jackie Blaze. Simone was Quad was, let me see what Quad was. Quad was Quadraphonics. Dr. Simone was called, what was she called? Oh, Fat Stacks. She was called Fat Stacks. And Dr. Contessa was called Miss Psychedelic. And then, of course, Toya was called Lady Toya Champagne. And I just thought it was really cute. If you watch the episode, you will see what I'm talking about. It's probably something that you would probably like as well, as they were given names. Now, the only thing I had about the party, everybody looked nice. They all had their own unique style, their own different actual, outfits or their little costumes. Dr. Damon came to the party. Of course, he came in his regular clothing. Walk, 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 walk. Like Dr. Damon, he never participates. He's there, but it just seems like it's so hard to get Dr. Damon to just do anything. Dr. Damon, your manhood is not going to be, minimized or diminished if you put on a costume, if you wear something from the 70s. Dr. Damon, you're not going to be less of a man. You're not going to be, it's not that people won't take you seriously. Everyone knows that you're a doctor. Everyone says that you're a stellar physician. I mean, sometimes, Damon, just participate. Just have some kind of personality. I think I said last season, it's hard to believe that Dr. Damon is an Omega man. He's part of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. It's hard to believe it because he's always so against doing anything to have fun. He's always very monotone. He never likes to show another side to him. He never likes to seem like he doesn't want to have fun. And it just kind of puts a damper on things. So it's kind of like, okay, Damon doesn't even need to come because the rest of the guys, Curtis, Eugene, Dr. Eugene, Steve, Brandy's husband, all of the guys, Scott, Cecil, all of them participated and they all had on, costumes. And again, it didn't take away from who they are as men. And I just wish that Damon would sort of get on the bandwagon sometime and just really be part of the show. But it doesn't matter. He's always like that. So anyway, Toya was actually just telling Dr. Simone how much the party cost. She told Dr. Simone that, she had the conversation with Dr. Contessa, and she said Scott wanted to throw the party, and Toya just thought, spending $40,000 on your own for a party, your husband not contributing, is a lot. Dr. Simone said in her confessionals that she doesn't really believe in just overly spending like that. She said her boys graduated from college. She said she thinks she gave them a party, but she spent maybe around $5,000. And she said it was a pretty nice event, of course, with the food, the drinks, and all of that. And they had, certain things, but she didn't go overboard. And I think, Toya was just kind of saying that, hey, she doesn't really, I think Toya is kind of looking at it like, what is Scott really all about? But I think what we're starting to see is that Dr. Scott and Dr. Contessa still have their issues. We know from seasons past when they were on the show, they were on the brink of divorce. They were really going through a tough time, but it seems like it's still there. Although Contessa decided to stay and, they decided to work things out, it still seems like they are having those same issues. So nonetheless, they have the party. Everyone seems to be having a great time. It's like a 70s casino theme. So Dr. Contessa shows up. She looks great. Everyone said the food, the drinks, everyone said everything was great. She changed her clothes, and then the ladies actually go outside and they're sort of like sitting on a terrace or something like that. And so Toya, of course, starts up. Toya's been getting the ball rolling this year. Toya is kind of like the force multiplier right now. She's the one that's sort of moving the story along. Normally it's Heavenly, but Heavenly is sort of taking a back seat. Toya is actually doing that this season. So Toya was saying, hey, what's going on? How do you feel? It's your birthday, but you're the one that had to do everything. Dr. Contessa says she doesn't actually want to talk about that. She just wants to have a great time. Toya said, you really can't get around it, because of the simple fact it is what it is. Dr. Scott didn't do anything. Toya even said something to Dr. Scott about it. Scott was very nonchalant about it and saying, hey, it doesn't matter nonetheless because it's really none of her business. But Toya seems to get this ball rolling and saying, hey, as women, these are just certain things that we have to kind of put in place, that our men, our husbands treat us properly and do things that we want them to do. Contessa said, hey, Scott is still who he is. I'm not looking to him to do it for me. That's why I went ahead and did it myself. But why are we having all these heavy conversations? I just want to have a great time. So Toya, she kind of let it go for, that little bit, but I know Toya is going to bring it up again, especially about the amount of money. Toya said her wedding was $75,000, which is, and then Contessa said her party was $40,000. So Toya really just feels like Contessa's putting out this money. She should be finishing up her, I know they have like a medical facility that they're working on. And I guess she's just saying, hey, maybe, Dr. Contessa's doing too much on her own as a woman. And she doesn't really like that. So we know that Toya has always seemed to have been a kept woman. We see Dr. Eugene. He is almost like a Renaissance man. He's a doctor, but he also does so many other things. And so I think Toya is blessed in that way, that she does have a husband that can do all these things, and then he fully supports her too. And I think that Toya is feeling like, are you really happy with a man who treats you like that, or treats you in a way where he doesn't feel like it's important to make you happy and do things for you? So the men have a conversation. We know that the men are an intricate part of the show. The guy's talking. Dr. Eugene was just basically saying, hey, he works at this new job. He loves it, although it's 5 hours. I think he said he works at 5 different hospitals, but the shifts aren't that long. He said he's very close to the nurses that work for him, and the guys were kind of, they were sort of clowning him about that. So we don't really know what that meant, but that's what Dr. Eugene said. Scott wished Contessa a happy birthday. He sort of took the mic and, he said a few words about her. One of the things he said, Scott said he and his mom always watched movies together. And he said that his mom told him that he had a Rose in his life. He said, Contessa reminds her of Rose, and Rose was the lady in the movie The Titanic. And she told Scott, basically, no matter what you go through in life, Rose will be there for you, and Rose will go down in the fight with you. And the women, I don't think the women took to that too much. I don't even think Dr. Contessa didn't seem to be moved by his speech. I can tell in her face that she was kind of stoic. She didn't really have a reaction to it. She didn't feel that soft tenderness in that speech, and the other ladies didn't either. Quad was like, hey, why does it have to be a struggle, or why is it that you have to be given a title of someone who basically is dragged through the mud or has to go through hell and high water just to stand by your side and support you? So of course we know these conversations with the ladies will come up again and again and again as time goes on. So then Simone and Cecil are headed home. After the party, we see Dr. Simone and Cecil in the car. Michael and Miles go to their parents' home. They say they're going to prepare dinner for them, or they bought food, and so they're going to kind of like set everything up for them to eat. Well, they get home. Dr. Simone and Cecil are happy to see the boys. Of course, they have the food. Michael is sort of like the spokesman. Michael is the one with the huge personality. He told them, hey, you threw us a graduation party. This is our little thanks to you. So they start sitting down. Simone said, well, okay, let's have a talk, because I need to talk to you about a budget. I need to talk to you about these finances and about some money. And so Michael's like, oh my God, are we going to have a serious conversation now? Well, Miles didn't say any much. Miles is very mild-mannered. He doesn't say a whole lot. He sort of just maybe goes along with Michael at times, or just laughs and jokes around, but he didn't say much. Well, Dr. Simone, she revealed that Michael had a credit card bill of $60,000. She said, and then Michael now wants to go to law school. He's also been complaining and saying that he wants a new car. He had a Jeep, I think a Jeep was his first car. It was brand spanking new. Now that he's in his 20s, no one keeps a Jeep that long, and now he wants a new car. Dr. Simone was saying, you want all of these things, but I'm the one basically footing the bill. And she was trying to tell him, as a young adult, when I was your age, I'm the only person that actually has a medical degree here, a doctorate degree here, and I had to rely on student loans and scholarships. I didn't have anyone to foot the bill for me or just throw money at my feet. And Michael was saying, well, you should, you're our parent, you're my mom, or you're, my parents have it. Why can't you just give it to me? And Simone basically went off and said it doesn't work that way. Cecil was sort of sitting there. He did not say much. Now, we know they have already said on a live that the conversation was probably an hour-long conversation. We only saw 5 minutes of that conversation. Simone kind of lost her cool because she said she's done everything for them. She doesn't want to continue to just work hard and work to just take care of the boys. She wants to do some things for herself. And, I could understand where Dr. Simone is coming from. I think sometimes even when you're younger, you don't know how hard your parents work, or how hard parents work to give their children the best of everything. And it's not until you become an adult or a parent yourself that you fully understand where your parents sacrifice and how much they sacrifice for you. And Dr. Simone wasn't wrong. I do see where Dr. Simone, she says that Cecil is kind of like a people's pleaser. He wants to be the boys' best friend and be cool with them and not really get on them. I think Cecil could have backed up Dr. Simone a little bit more by saying, hey, you guys need to get a job. You guys need to sort of pay your way. We can help you along the way. That's what we're always here for. But you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I do believe that there is a slight difference between, boy, or I should say male children and female children. I think female children have been in society. We have been sort of raised and reared to make sure that we're the responsible ones. Many times the males or the male children sort of get away with a little bit more. I don't agree with that in many ways, because Michael is, like I said, Michael is a graduate, a college graduate. Miles is a college graduate. If you look at their Instagram pages, Dr. Simone, Cecil, the boys and their girlfriends went on vacation for Thanksgiving. If you have a girlfriend, if you're having sex, if you're, operating and functioning as an adult, then you should make sure that you pay your own bills. You should not be taking care of or buying your girlfriend things or doing, adult things if you cannot afford to take care of yourself. So I did agree with Dr. Simone. I'm sorry that she kind of went off the way she did, because sometimes the message gets lost because she becomes really, really emotional, and we know Simone will get loud and go off. She stormed out of the room, and it was kind of sad to see, because I felt like she kept saying it's always 3 against 1, and she feels like she doesn't get the support she needs. I can understand that as a woman. Sometimes you just want to be heard, and when you feel like you're not heard, or you feel like you don't get that support that you need, it can be very frustrating. So I heard her. Dr. Simone in this situation was 100% correct, and I hope that it is something that Michael will kind of look back at and realize that I can do better. I can, get a job. I can do certain things, and perhaps I can contribute to my my law school education. So the last scene of the night, Brandy actually had a birthday party. Simone arrived first. It was a place called Bay's house, and her and Heavenly, they were there together. They were initially sitting down, just having a drink, and Simone sort of, she was in a bad place. I guess it was right after the altercation or this sort of disagreement with Cecil and the boys. She went on to confide in Heavenly and said about, she told Heavenly that Michael wants to go to law school. She's not really prepared to pay for it. Heavenly said, I don't think you should. I don't know where Heavenly was coming from. And it's sad to say because Heavenly gets on her YouTube channel. On the show, they say that they are like Heavenly, Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone say they're like the Golden Girls, but then Heavenly tends to act like she doesn't really like Simone or she doesn't particularly care for her. And so I didn't want Simone to confide in Heavenly that much because I felt like it would come back to bite her. But when Simone is sort of going through those emotional changes, I think she could really confide in Dr. Jackie and Toya more so than Heavenly. So I even wrote down here like, girl, shut it down. I wrote that in my notes, like Simone needs to shut it down because Heavenly will use this against her. But anyway, so everyone arrives at the party. Brandy is there. Brandy said that her husband actually put it all together. I guess some of the girls did not know, that, they hadn't met her husband, or they didn't know I think she has 4 children. So they called on the phone. They were on the video chat, and the ladies were able to wave to her husband and the kids. And so Brandy said, again, my husband put this all together. I'm so grateful for him. Dr. Contessa goes in and says, well, basically, why are we praising your husband so much? This is not a birthday party. I spent $40,000 myself of my money. And so Brandy said, well, pump your brakes. You're barking up the wrong tree. That is, number one, it's not that kind of atmosphere. I'm just saying my husband did something really nice for me. I appreciate it. Dr. Contessa went on to say, throwing a lot of shade, saying, hey, we're in a strip mall. This is a dinner party. This is not actually a birthday party. If you want to go there, like, I have money to pay for my food. It's not a big deal. If this is what you consider to be a party and this is what you consider that your husband did for you, then, I wouldn't want this. And so Brandy was kind of thrown off. Brandy is a newbie. I think Dr. Contessa came across very strong, very harsh, very coming across almost as someone that was a little jealous. I don't think it's necessarily about the fact that what it was. I think Brandy was very comfortable with them just having dinner and drinks. I think for Dr. Contessa, it just felt like, she said, why is it that we always have to, we have to praise a man if they do something, or why is it that we can't be women and do for ourselves? Well, Contessa, when you are married and you have a partner and you're one, I think it just goes without saying that you want your partner to look out for you and to be kind to you and to do nice things for you. I think that's human nature. I think as human beings, we want to not only be nice to others, we want to give to others, but we also want to be on the receiving end. Why would you not want Scott to do something really nice for you? Toya called her out and said, basically, I'm calling BS. You're pissed off with Scott and you're basically taking it out on Brandy. Contessa even said that she cooked brunch for some of her family and friends, like, after the party. And they was like, whoa. It was still your birthday. Why are you doing it? So Simone sort of jumped in. She had said something at the party, but she sort of reiterated that you teach your husband how to treat you. The way you start off is the way that it will go throughout your marriage. She even used an example of, her first Mother's Day, Cecil didn't buy her a Mother's Day card. And she said she went off, she let Cecil have it. And she said from that point on, he learned how to make sure that he got her a card. But she says marriage is hard. She says sometimes they don't change. So Dr. Contessa was saying, well, I'm still believing that Scott will change and that as I get older, the things that I want him to do, that he will do. Dr. Simone said, no, he will not change. I've been married 29 years and basically once they get set in their ways, they're not going to change. She said sometimes, so Quad said, well, look, I don't have to worry about that because I'm not married at all. all. You know what I'm saying? I've been down that road and I'm footloose and fancy free. Although I'm in a relationship, I still don't have that same commitment and I don't have those same issues. Toya basically went off and told Dr. Contessa, you are absolutely crazy. For allowing Scott to get away with what he gets away with. And it went off with Dr. Simone saying that sometimes she wishes that she wasn't married. Now we know in season 5, Simone and Cecil were on the brink of getting a divorce. The couples rallied around them and they were able to get through their marital problems, and they are still married to this day. However, the frustration of what Simone felt from the conversation that she had with Cecil and the boys is sort of spilled over into the Brandy's party, and Simone made some comments that of course she cannot take back. And one of them, like I said, was the fact that maybe she felt like she didn't want to be married anymore. And all of the ladies were sort of shocked. Qua was saying, hey, even though they've had their issues, Qua said, Simone, don't say that, don't go there. And that is how the episode ended. So guys, that was it for that episode. Let me know what you think. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And again, if you feel like it, hey, drop me a comment, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. How did you enjoy episode 3? I know we're 3 episodes in. How do you feel about the season thus far? Are you enjoying it, or are you feeling like, hey, they're a little boring at this point? How do you feel about everything that's going on? Do you agree that Scott should have thrown Dr. Contessa a party, or do you feel like it doesn't really matter if Contessa wants a party and she has the money to pay for it? It's okay for her to pay for her own party. Also, how do you feel about the conversation between Simone and and the boys, as well as Cecil? Whose side are you on? Do you understand where Dr. Simone is coming from? Do you feel like she overreacted, or do you feel like Simone is well within her right to actually complain and be upset, especially with her being the breadwinner all this time? I know how I feel. I feel like although Cecil is coming from the corporate world, he's always pretty much had a job and now he's in real estate. But we know that Simone has always been the primary breadwinner. She's always made the majority of the money. She's been in the medical field probably almost 30 years of her life, and she's put a lot of money out. Should she continue to do that, or does she need to cut the boys off? Let me know what you think, guys. Like I said, we'll stay tuned, and we'll see what happens next week. It seems like I said, I see that the couples are really addressing their personal issues this year. It's not just Dr. Simone and Cecil. I see that Toya and Dr. Eugene are going to have some conversations. So just stay tuned, guys, and hang in there with me. Like I said, I'm not sure if they're going to have episodes during the Christmas holidays. If they do, I'll be right back down here in the YouTube streets. If not, have a wonderful holiday, have a wonderful Christmas, and a happy New Year, and I will see you when they return. If they're here, I'll be here, but if not, I will see you in the new year. Be blessed, guys. Love you.